Did you know that the YouTube channel Faith in Him Music was over 30 years in the making? That's right, it didn't just pop up overnight. Let me introduce you to its creator, Philip. His journey is nothing short of remarkable. For 3 decades, Philip has poured his heart and soul into music that uplifts and inspires. With every chord and lyric, he's crafted a tapestry of faith that resonates deeply with countless souls. Now, the world is finally hearing his voice through this channel. As you explore Faith in Him Music, you'll discover a profound blend of encouragement and talent that captivates with every note. Prepare to be both shocked and inspired as you dive into Philip's extraordinary journey. Join him on this incredible adventure and let his music touch your heart.
Hi, this is Philip Hofbester of Faith in Him Music on YouTube. I'd like to say I appreciate all of you who tune into my channel, and if you like the content that we have on this channel, I would appreciate it if you would like and subscribe. It helps our channel to grow. Before I tell you the story of how we got here, I want to start off by saying I've never had any formal music training. I never took any music classes. I never was around any kind of instrument to play any kind of instrument. But I will say that music has always been part of my life, even though I never felt like I had any musical abilities. But in order to understand how Faith in Him Music came about, I'm going to have to take you back to the early 70s when I was a student at one of the local universities here. One of the classes I was required to take was drama. The drama professor in the class that I was in, he and I became really good friends. And one day leaving class, he asked me if I'd be interested in taking a part in an upcoming production they were going to do. I told him that I didn't know. I had a lot of classes that I was taking, and I'd have to think about it. About 2 or 3 days later, I decided I would talk to him about it, and I decided I would do it. When he gave me the character part, he left out one major detail. That character required to play the guitar and sing, which I didn't know how to do. I didn't have a guitar at the time, and I couldn't tell you the difference between a G string or an A string or a G chord or a C chord. But thankfully, one of the friends in the production had a 4-string guitar he said I could use for the production. In a matter of about 2 weeks, I had to learn 3 songs for the production. And as luck would have it, I did learn those songs and was able to play those songs in 2 weeks from the time I received the guitar. Now, the night of the production, we had a jam-packed house. I mean, standing room only. When we got to the scene where I had to play the guitar and sing, about halfway through the first song, 2 strings on a 4-string guitar broke. And instead of panicking, I just kept playing. I wound up having to do the entire scene, the 2 other songs that we had to do, on a 2-string guitar. You talk about bringing the house down. The people were absolutely ecstatic. And the rest of the story is, from that, I developed my musical skills. From that on, I was able to learn to play the guitar, was involved in several groups where I played the guitar, and even was a lead singer in one of the groups that I was involved in. Later on, I became part of country bands, Southern gospel bands, Christian country bands, and my skills just kind of developed. But in the late 80s and early 90s, I picked up the keyboard, piano, keyboard, and wanted to learn how to play it. And for several years, I mastered the skills of the keyboard, and that is the main instrument that I play today. But my musical journey really didn't get started just in the 70s. In the year 2000, things began to change with me musically. I was a session player in a studio, and we had a session one afternoon, and in that session, the client that came in after the session was over came over to the piano where I was sitting and said, "Could we talk?" And I said, "Sure." And that person asked me if I'd be interested in us joining forces, the singing ability and my playing ability, and create our own group. I said, oh, I don't know about that. I said, starting a group from scratch is really hard, trying to find the musicians you need to play. But anyway, I decided I'd do it, and I think it was one of the best decisions I ever made. We started a group called Ransom Heart, and after the group was started, we had made the decision to try to do an album project to showcase, what our group was capable of. But about a month out of trying to get the songs together, we ran into a little problem, and I'll tell you about that in just a second. We had decided to hire David Huff of David and the Giants, the legendary Christian rock group, to do our album project. Now, David had recorded a bunch of high-profile artists as well as major artists over the years that he was in the recording business. He had an outstanding studio an hour-and-a-half drive from my house. So we decided that he would be the one to do our album project under the Ransom Heart name. But 2 weeks out from the recording session, we had a real problem. The problem was we didn't have any songs. And in the course of about 2 weeks from the time we had scheduled our first recording session, God started giving me these beautiful songs that we eventually wind up using on the album project itself. It took approximately 8 months for us to put all the music tracks down and do all the final mixes on them. However, there was a few minor problems that we ran into with vocals that we had to go back and do some work on. 3 weeks before the project was actually finished, I had a major health issue that developed. I had to have triple bypass heart surgery. And as a result of that, I was unable for several weeks to even be able to walk or do anything. But once I got strength back to where I could partially function, I was able to go to David Huff's studio and pick up our CDs. For about 1.5 years, I was barely functioning as a human being because of the heart surgery. But we made a decision after the CD project was finished and my health started to improve. We decided that instead of hiring to have our music done, why don't we just build our own studio? In 2007, after 3 years of working on the studio, I finally opened the studio and with the plans of creating and doing my own music. But as faith would have it, instead of me being able to use my own studio to do my songs and the material that I was writing, I wound up doing it for everybody else. After about 1.5 years of opening the studio, because of personal issues, me and the original person that started the Ransom Heart group, we had to break the group up. And for about, I would say probably 4 or 5 years, Ransom Heart Group was just a name and was not even a functioning group. But as fate would have it, I ran into some old picking buddies I used to play music with, probably around 2016, 2017. And after practicing one day, we were talking, and I said, listen, I have an outstanding recording studio, have a lot of song ideas. Why don't we reorganize Ransom Heart and let's start a new album project? For a good bit of a year, we put down several songs. The lead guitar player and lead singer in the group, he and his wife were writing some of the material as well as myself. But because of health issues on my end and on his end and other family issues, Ransom Heart just came to a complete standstill. And we're back to square one again. We have all these songs that we're working on that we don't have any way of getting them out to the public. Prior to this time, I had several other health issues. For one thing, I developed pancreatitis and was in really bad shape health-wise for several weeks. Eventually, I had to have my gallbladder removed, and that just complicated the problem. For a month or month and a half, I was not even able to operate the studio. And as fate would have it, the lead singer and the lead guitar player for the group was having some personal family issues as well as health issues, and I was having some health issues. And because of that, we were just at a complete standstill with the Ransom Heart and the material that we were creating in the studio. My studio remained open until about 5 years ago, when I was told by my doctor that I had bladder cancer. And as a result of that bladder cancer, I was having not only take treatments, but were having major operations every 2 to 3 months. I have had 17 major operations since I was diagnosed with a cancer. And because of it, I was forced to have to close the studio. My studio is no longer functioning. So I have all the songs that I have created and no way to get them to the public. Back several months ago, a friend of mine put me on to AI technology. And prior to this, I had had a lot of people who had approached me and said, "Hey, Don," and that's my middle name. Don is my middle name. They said, "Why don't you try to steer some of your songs to the major record labels?" He said, "You're a really good songwriter and you've got some really good songs, but they don't understand how the major labels work. Those people really aren't interested in anything I have to offer because they have their little clique of people that they deal with, and they don't want anybody else kind of upsetting their apple cart. So if you know anything about the major music industry, this is why you hear all these complaints about mainstream music now, about how bad it is." Now, going back to the AI technology thing, I was really down on AI. I felt that AI was evil and that its intentions and its usage was evil. But I found out that AI is not evil and that it can be used for good. I don't use AI for nothing more than the final creation of my song. AI has been an incredible tool. I can tell AI exactly how I want my song to sound, what instruments I want in the song, how I want those instruments played, what kind of guitar tone I want on it. It's really fascinating if you think about it. I have been able now to take songs that I have written for more than 20 years and use AI technology to create these beautiful arrangements on songs that I have been holding on to for all of these years. The music that you hear on Faith in Him Music is exactly over 30 years in the making. The last 20 years have been an outstanding time for me, although my music is just now beginning to reach the public. Early on, I made a great decision. In the early 2000s, I decided to set up my own publishing company, my own record label. Of course, I already had the studio, but there was one thing missing, and that's distribution. Now I have that covered. I just recently released 2 new songs nationwide, and I am very happy about the way the songs turned out and the response I'm getting from the places where the music is being distributed to. Now that brings us to today. My YouTube channel, Faith in Him Music, has only been operating about a month now. But I have been very, very pleased with the response that I'm getting from the music that I've put on there. And I hope that as you scroll through the song list that we put on there, that there may be some songs that touches your life, because the whole purpose for me doing this channel is to have people inspired and blessed by the music that I'm creating. If you've never been on my YouTube channel, I would appreciate it if you would check it out and that you would like and subscribe to help my channel build. I hope that in the near future that I have a chance to meet some of you and have a chance to thank you for making my YouTube channel what it is. As a final thought, Faith in Him Music is your channel. It was created for you, to bless you, to inspire you, and to get you through your tough times. I could go on and tell you other things that happened in between what we've talked about today in this, but it would take a long time to go into grave detail. I've tried to summarize and hit the high points of where we started and how we made it to this point. I hope that this has been an inspiring message to all of you, that you don't ever give up. I never gave up. I felt at some point in time that the talent God had given me, that He was going to reward it, and sure enough, He has.